and welcome back to World Talks here on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, head of Russia's nuclear, biological and chemical defense forces, was killed in a bomb explosion on Monday. Reuters said that Kirillov was killed in a, quote, special operation by the Security Service of Ukraine, or SBU. Other prominent figures assassinated include a senior Russian naval officer, Valery Trankovsky, who was killed in a car bomb, and Darya Dugina, the daughter of a far-right Russian political philosopher, Alexander Dugin. In addition, the Ukrainian government has ruled out any extension of the existing gas transit deal between Europe and Russia. This is clearly going to impact Russia's financial position at a time of a highly expensive war. We're joined now by Milan Lelich, political observer, RBC-UKRAINE News Agency, to discuss these topics. Welcome back to TVP World, Mr. Lelich. Thanks for taking the time.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start with the assassination. A little bit embarrassing for Russia, isn't it? I mean, this is, as I said, in my intro, it's not the first high-profile assassination in Moscow, showing that perhaps the security services of Russia aren't as effective as they'd perhaps like to be. What do you say?
Yes, obviously, this is not the first and not the second and even not the fifth act of such a sort, and really as much as the Russian army itself proved not to be the so-called second best army in the world. Obviously, this is definitely not the case, and everyone understood it back in spring 2022. And they are formidable. Security services aren't as formidable as they were always thought to be. It shows that our special services, our special agencies are very much capable of punishing the war criminals wherever they hide. Even if they hide in the very heart of the regime, like in Moscow, still the justice will be there. And this is a real case of justice, because the day before the assassination, this General Kirillov was officially accused for different war crimes by Ukrainian law enforcement agencies, and there are multiple evidence of it. So this was not, just an act of murdering some high-ranking official or general just because he's our enemy. No, he is an absolutely legitimate target, as he is a war criminal, as he is responsible for almost 5,000 cases of usage of different chemical weaponry against our soldiers, and around 2,000 of Ukrainian soldiers were injured by this and were put to the hospitals and they were taken care of because their health was severely damaged by different means of chemical weaponry. And General Kirillov was the one who was behind all this stuff, so he was definitely a legitimate target, and this is an act of justice, obviously.
Understood. Well, we wish those soldiers well. And as you say, General Kirillov had been convicted in absentia of these war crimes. So I'm not sure how many people would be shedding tears, certainly in Ukraine, over this event. Now, here's the thing. I mean, yes, the SBU has shown time and time again that it's been effective. Is it relying on internal resources within Russia? So I'm thinking about dissidents, Russian dissidents, who support the Ukrainian side in this war. I'm thinking about perhaps even members of the security apparatus. What can you share with us about those ideas?
Well, obviously, the operation of such a sort, they are always very much in disguise. Not many details are open to public. Even the sources inside these agencies, they do not want to share a lot of knowledge, and this is how it works in the whole world. The same with Israel Special Services or United States and so on. So as of about this particular case, there is not so much information, and I don't have any like first-hand information, and neither I saw any information in some Ukrainian media outlets or Western media outlets. So about this particular case, this is quite hard to say something. The Russians have caught a guy from Uzbekistan, if I'm not mistaken, and they are accusing him of doing that. And this guy even like said something really. He admitted that he is guilty of it, but there is zero trust to everything what their so-called law enforcement agencies do. So he may be just a scapegoat. Who knows? Generally, yes. Obviously, our forces, our special services, they rely on some people who are there and who are not very much happy of their regime and who want to actively help in this or that form, to want to actively help Ukrainians in their just fight against the Putin's regime. But again, about this particular case, no additional knowledge. Maybe in the oncoming days or weeks we will know more. I hope so, because this is really very interesting. Obviously.
Well, I mean, it is quite understandable, of course, that the SBU doesn't want to release techniques and methods and so on. That is important. However, it is exceptionally impressive that the Russian security services managed to arrest this Uzbek chap and got a videotaped confession from him within the matter of a few hours. How much reliance do you place on his confession?
As I said, absolutely zero reliance, because definitely this was like a really a very painful punch in the face of Russian, all these like formidable, so-called formidable special services and FSB and all these guys, all these agencies. So they like they understood that they badly needed to show a real result of the investigation and to do it extremely quickly. Either this guy from Uzbekistan is somehow involved or not involved. Well, I think we'll never know. We'll never know. Because, I have a lot of doubt that this guy is really like responsible for them, just to pick up the first migrant or whoever else they meet in Moscow and say, okay, guy, we will do something bad to you, or on the contrary, pay him some money. For example, just say this, and that on the camera, and everything going to be fine. Okay, he agrees.
Understood.
Absolutely no trust to all the so-called evidence or these investigations at all.
Right.
Still, I hope that we will get some more details from our outlets, Ukrainian outlets or Western outlets. About how
Understood. Well, we shall wait and see how that unravels. I just want in the last couple of minutes talk about Ukraine stopping the flow of Russian gas through pipelines situated on Ukrainian territory. Now, of course, this makes sense on a number of levels. How much impact do you think, though, that this is going to have on the Russian economy and their ability to wage war?
Well, it will not be a really major blow, just for the reason that since the very start of the full-scale war, to almost 3 years ago already, the flow of gas to Europe from Russia decreased dramatically, and more countries started like abandoning the usage of Russian gas, and this is definitely the way to go. So there are like generally a couple of countries who are still dependent, and this, as far as I understand the situation, as I'm not big an energy expert, but still, as far as I understand the situation, some different schemes are now planned on maybe how to switch Russian gas to perhaps Azerbaijani gas instead, that will flow through this pipe, but definitely not the Russian gas. But still, this is something positive for us, as again, those like millions and millions of euros that Russia could obtain from this gas sold to Europe it will not obtain. So definitely this is something positive for us, and more like geopolitically, this is definitely a great thing, because I just read an hour ago or something an interview of U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Jeffrey Pyatt. He said that, this is really a nice thing, because Russia always used gas supplies as a leverage or political pressure on Ukraine and on Europe as well. So if this leverage is weakened or is almost not there, then who will be unhappy with this? So what is the idea of continuing this dependence of Europe on Russian gas? So I think everything is moving in the right direction, much slower than we in Ukraine hoped it to be, but still this is what we have.
As so often happens, Mr. Lelich, but at least the trajectory is in the right direction. Thank you very much indeed for sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that's all from us in this episode of World Talks. Goodbye.